Republican voters in Kentucky have picked the state's Attorney General, Daniel Cameron, as their nominee for governor.
Cameron, who was endorsed by former President Trump, beat rivals, including former UN Ambassador Kelly Craft and Agriculture Commissioner Ryan Quarles. In many ways, the race was seen as a test of Trump's influence ahead of 2024.
Cameron's victory now sets him up to face off against incumbent Democratic Governor Andy Beshear in November. NBC News correspondent Dasha Burns joins us now from Lexington, Kentucky, with the latest. So, Dasha, Cameron blew away the competition. It was a large field, but he's been the front runner since announcing his bid last year. He secured that early endorsement from Trump. Walk us through what this win means and what it says about Trump's influence over Republican voters right now.
Well, look, Joe, one of the reasons we've been watching this race nationally is because it has been sort of an early bellwether, a test for the Republican Party about what wins out with voters. And look, Cameron is well known in the state as the state's attorney general, but that Trump endorsement is something that he put front and center in this race. All of his ads talked about it. He was constantly touting it on the campaign trail. And he took a lot of incoming from his opponents, particularly Kelly Craft, who spent a lot of her own money. She's a wealthy candidate. She spent a lot of ad dollars attacking Cameron, and still he came out well on top, which does indicate that Donald Trump, the former president, still has a lot of power with primary voters, right? That is a big key factor here. We're talking about primary voters. What does that endorsement mean in the general? Will it help or hurt? That's the big question, guys.
So this was hurdle number one, but of course the big one here is going to be unseating a popular incumbent governor. That is a hard thing to do. What are some of Cameron's advantages here? Are there any, and how are voters feeling about him going up against the current governor, Andy Beshear?
Well, you said it there, Savannah. Beshear is incredibly popular. He's led the state through several tough moments, the pandemic, tornadoes, that shooting recently where he lost a close friend of his as well. So he has a lot of popularity. It's going to be a tough, tight race. I imagine a lot more money will be spent here. I want you to hear from one of the voters we talked to yesterday who kind of laid the groundwork about what this is going to look like. Take a listen.
He's young. I like his morals. He's got that swag to him, and I really like him. And the Beshears are similar to like a Kentucky version of the Kennedys. Oh, I got the last name, so I'm going to run.
Similar to a Kentucky version of the Kennedys. Look, they have a lot of sway here and a lot of name recognition. And as I said, quite a popular governor here. So it's going to be an important one to watch. And again, that Trump endorsement that was so critical to winning the primary. We saw this in the midterms, right? A lot of Trump's endorsed candidates got through the primary, then got to the general election and lost. So we'll see if history repeats itself here, guys.
Dasha, while we have you, we want to ask you about another race there in Kentucky. The Secretary of State, Michael Adams, did win the primary and a chance to secure a second term. He beat out two candidates who did campaign on voter fraud claims. So what can you tell us about this one?
Well, look, this says something pretty important. I think it says that campaigning on looking back, campaigning on election denialism might not be as fruitful as some of Republican candidates may think. And look, the Secretary of State here said, I am not going to give in to this. I might lose my job over it, but I'm not going to give in to this kind of conspiracy theory, and ultimately came out on top. So that might be a bit of a flag, a bit of a signal to others that might be thinking about campaigning on these sorts of issues, guys.
All right. Dasha Burns in Lexington. Dasha, thank you so much.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.